mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. One chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
Okay, so Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 28 as setting up officially, well, the last 4 chapters we can say in its totality, what I believe is going to be the biggest arc yet in the series. And I had to step back for a second just to contemplate what I was about to say. I think this might be equivalent to Naruto's Pain Evasion arc, meaning that this arc might be so great that the arcs that come after this arc, people might say Ikimoto just isn't the same. You know how people like Naruto should have ended at the Pain arc? I think this is what we're gearing up to get because all of the signs point towards it, right? Now, if we look at the first 2 arcs of the story, being how I break up Boruto 2 Blue Vortex from chapter 1 to chapter 28, the first arc being chapters 1 through 14, and the second arc being chapters 15 up to chapter 24, right? Each of these arcs have something in common. For the most part, they each span over a year, so that already geared me in the mindset. We might be seeing this Momushi problem for the next year, meaning we might be seeing this going probably, I would say at the very least, the end of the summer, leading into the fall, or leading into the winter season of 2026. That's just how things typically go, because the first arc we got, right, by the end of the year, we got Himawari being revealed to be Kurama's new Jinchuriki. And then months after that, Boruto finally got arrested and broke out of prison. And then boom, starting the next arc, we got excited. Oh, finally, Sarada and Mitsuki are going on a mission. Oh, we're seeing other Shinju. We got Matsuri. We got a new Shinju and Ryu. Probably 5 months into that arc, we finally got the fighting to start. Now, I'm not saying this as a complaining gripe, but just how everything has been built up. All of the information and details leading up to these moments, pure 10 out of 10. You already know I talked about it in my previous video. Probably if I had to say, the second arc had the better fights, but the first arc had the more hyped moments, right? But 5 months into that arc, we get some fighting started. Another 5 months after that, we see Kawaki pulling up with a karma seal and Boruto actually, you know what I'm saying, both taking their ones and their chances against Jura respectively. Now, with this arc, we spent the last 4 months in the village. We spent the last 4 months setting up from chapter 25, right, to reviving Moegi, to finding out Gaara and Shinki are taken care of off screen, to finding out Yoda was dead off screen, right? But also seeing how Jura is building up his emotional, recoil from just learning and feeling emotions through the other Shinju, Hidari being in the cut as he's always been, and finally getting some movement from this guy, Momushi. Now, after the events of chapter 28 and seeing how things unfolded and seeing how the Boruto karma battle has officially unfolded in front of our eyes going against Momushi, I believe compared to its predecessors, this arc has, I think, everything in the making to be one of those ones, because the first 2 arcs had essentially the element of surprise on the reader's end, right? Because boom, we're reading the first arc, we have no idea what's about to happen. Boruto pops up in the village. We learned that Boruto trained with Sasuke. Sasuke got triified 2 years ago. Code has been chasing Boruto for the last 3 years. Not only that, he got a matching eye scar with Boruto. Boom, like I stated, the Himawari stuff, Jura seeing Team 10 fight, surprise after surprise. So we really had no idea where things were going. Granted, in the same manner here with this arc, we don't know where things are going to go. We know in an alternate future in this very arc, Himawari dies and Ada is triified. So we have at least some type of understanding of Momushi coming out on top within this arc. But for those first 2 arcs, the element of surprise were definitely pressed against the readers. We had no idea for Kurama Himawari. We had no idea for Mangekyo Sharingan Sarada. We had no idea that Sarada was going to one-shot a Shinju or going to be the main player in making sure that her team, her side of those teams, got out of that situation alive, that Konoha was actually destined to die. Boruto popping up out of nowhere and actually being destined to die, and then Kawaki popping up out of nowhere. The element of surprise was so instrumental, right? And then in this arc, they start off with with those elements, but everything is still being set up and being built upon, right? From Momoshiki having that deal with Boruto, and now we see, boom, by the end of the 4th chapter, Boruto pops open his karma. So we've been expecting that since we saw Momoshiki talk to Boruto in that psyche, and we found out Momoshiki was depressed, right? Understanding how Kashin Koji has been slowly building up the forces and telling them, okay, this Shinju can do that. This is how we're going to defeat this Shinju. We've had the last 4 chapters in our time, last 4 months, to talk about how to prepare for Mamushi, how to understand his dividing ability, and the weaknesses and strengths that come with it. We want to ideally get him between 20 to 30 clones, but anything less than that and anything over that will allow him to be too strong and too smart, or too strong and too overwhelming. Now we learn more about the dynamics of the Shinju, the hierarchy, and the respect that Jura actually holds over the other Shinju, whereas Mamushi will operate this mission. He will go on this he's willing to look after Ada and travel the ends of the earth, but what he's not willing to do is get on Jura's bad side. He's not going to destroy the village. He's not going to go against specific orders that Jura had given him, despite his monstrosity of appearance and speculation of being such a strong and overwhelming force. Now we got the idea planted in our heads. He wants Ada's genes. What happens if a Shinju gets Ada's powers? What happens if we get a Shinju Ada? We have all of these questions going into this arc, solely focused just on this arc, not just the grand scheme of the story as in the other 2 arcs. Well, what are we going to see Kawaki do in the future? How much longer until we see Boruto make a move? What is Jura doing? You know what I'm saying? Everything we're asking in this arc right now has to do with this arc, right? Because now we have to understand Shikamaru is running a secret mission on top of where the chaos is about to spread, because we have to understand the main hierarchies, right? The ones who don't know about this secret mission aren't aware completely right now that they're under invasion. So once the greater village is aware, we got the police force, once we got more Anbu and more Leaf Jonin acting on the scenes, then we're going to be able to see a full battlefield, a full chessboard with all of these pieces at layout. Because the first arc, the heavy pieces we focused on, we got Boruto and Sarada fighting together, Konoha pulling up, showing us new jutsus, Team 10 showing us what to do and how it do, and then of course, like I said time and time again, Himawari, right? And then the second arc, Mangekyo Sharingan Sarada, Karma Kawaki. We already know the dealio. Now this arc, all of these major players from Boruto, Kawaki, Himawari and Team 10, Sarada, Mitsuki, Konohamaru, Amato, motherfucking Ada, and Damon, and then of course, like I said, the beautiful and the lovely Delta. There are so many players that are already named, dropped in this arc to be actually participating in this mission, and then also on top of the fact that the chaos still hasn't even ensued. So people like Sai, people possibly like Ibiki, and other top tier Jonins that we haven't seen or possibly already seen in the manga might have some significant moments and meaningful moments in this arc. And understanding that in a separate future, Himawari dies, Ada is devoured. That lets us know the repercussions of this arc are great. And then Kashin Koji's words in the last chapter, the more ideal the future, the less I say, well, how can we connect those dots? In the last arc, we knew he wanted to send a certain team to face these Shinju. We knew he wanted to have Konoha play on Matsuri's feelings. We knew that Ryu was simple-minded and they just needed to separate him from Matsuri and then jump Ryu. But nowhere did he mention that, hey, Sarada's gonna have to awaken this power. So let's just make sure she can do that. He kept that completely shut. He kept that closed. Same thing with Himawari. He was like, yeah, they're about to awaken this power, but I'm not gonna say nothing on how they're gonna do it and why it's gonna happen. So similarly so, I think we're gearing up for something big, because we know we're avoiding 2 deaths in Ada and Himawari, and it's like the law of equivalent exchange for all of my Full Metal Alchemist fans out there. You give something, you're gonna have to take something back in equal value. So in that case, essentially a life for a life, and in this scenario, 2 major important lives being the daughter and the heir of the Uzumaki clan and the Hidden Leaf village in Himawari, and the one who knows all and is loved by all in this world being in Ada. So 2 very important and prominent figures are going down this arc, or at least destined to go down this arc, but all of these major players. So this arc just spells chaos. Because I named all of I think it's about like 10 or 11 people that Shikamaru has on this mission going undercover. So for a fact, we're going to see some fighting from Team 10. We're going to see some fighting from Team 7. We're going to see some fighting from Damon. And we're most likely going to see some fighting from Boruto and Kawaki fighting together. And just off of that alone, this arc is going to be one of those ones. And then going even beyond that, the potential of seeing maybe more Anbu members, maybe even other Naruto Next Generation characters that haven't popped up in the manga pop up, but definitely people like Sai, maybe someone like Kiba, maybe even someone like Rock Lee, because this arc is going to be taking place within the Hidden Leaf Village for the next year. And I can say that with certainty. So at the very least, I believe we have another 10 to 11 chapters to get through this arc, to get through this Mamushi conflict, but I believe it's going to go as so. Now, understanding Team 7 has been told to be on standby. So I believe Team 7 in the terms of, because it's split technically, Boruto and Kawaki are out there in the field. Mitsuki and Sarada have orders to stand by. And along with figures like Ada and Damon, obviously Ada because she's a target, and Damon because he's not going to leave his sister's side. I believe these are going to be characters or figures we're going to see action from towards more so, I would say, the end of the arc, heavily because we just seen a lot of action from Mitsuki and Sarada starting off these first two arcs into Blue Vortex, and I believe a great way to end off some of the climactic moments is to see some movement and some impactful actions and dialogue from both Damon and Ada to see how that can end off. So starting off this arc, heavy focus on Karma Boruto because that's something that they teased us with and something that we've been anticipating for a long time, right? I believe we're going to see some action from Boruto. We're going to see some action from Team 10, some no-name Jonin first. And then moving on, the next set of figures are going to be figures like, I'd say the Anbu, who Sai are leading, some of the Hidden Leaf police force, and then we're going to see some movement from Himawari because it's been well over a year since the last time we've seen her fight. So we're definitely going to get some of that in the middle of the chapter, possibly after a Boruto and Kawaki team up. I believe Ikinoda's going to be shifting focus, maybe a chapter or two on one fight and then a chapter on another fight. Similar with the Sand arc, how we shifted from Konohamaru and Matsuri and then back to Sarada and Ryu. But I believe it's going to be more balanced if you think back towards the first arc where we shifted from, Himawari versus Jura and then Boruto and Sarada versus Hidari. So in that type of manner, we might spend this chapter focusing or emphasizing on one fight more heavily than the other, and then later chapters doing, the same and vice versa. So after getting some emphasis on Himawari, maybe some Shikadai emphasis and stuff like that, because we understand Inojin's going to be next to Kashin Koji and spotting all of the differences and whereabouts where people can be popping up to, we're definitely going to be getting some movement from these type of characters throughout the fight. So that by the end of the arc, regardless of what major things have happened before and who we've seen fight, whether it be Karma Boruto, Karma Kawaki, maybe Jura pops up, Hidari pops up, another crazy ability revealed by Mamushi. By the end of the arc, I believe one of the last few people we will be fighting is going to be Damon, is going to be Mamushi, and probably leaving us into a cliffhanger where Ada is about to bite the dust. It's definitely going to be some repercussions. Those of y'all who participate or listen to the Cloud Ninja podcast, y'all know, right, I've been one to push against the idea of Ada dying this arc, not just because she's one of my favorite characters after Boruto and Sarada, but simply because I see so many factors that point towards her not dying, but also the heavy repercussions that can have just from like going a step beyond that. Because even if Ada dies, let's say she does, I don't want it to just be Ada this arc. I want the Hidden Leaf to understand how serious of a situation they're in. So I want people like Ibiki, Sai, the Elders, possibly even Ada, Kashin Koji, and half of the Hidden Leaf population to get wiped out in this arc, just for them to understand, like, dang, we need to lock in, just to understand the severity of the situation. So that's why I believe this arc is going to be chaos. That's why I believe after this arc, Ikimoto is going to be facing fraud allegations, because it's going to be so hard, and I mean very, very hard, but I believe it's going to be able to be done, but to pass this arc in its greatness that I feel is ensuing in front of us. And to start it off, we have none other than a Karma freaking Boruto ready to get amped up after 3 years in verse and 3 years out verse of us wondering when is the next time we're going to see this type of Boruto. So let me know how y'all feel about it. How do y'all think the chaos is about to ensue? And do y'all think, like me, similarly, this next arc, Konoha versus the Shinju army, i.e. the Mamushi army, is going to be the biggest arc in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex? Yes, just because of all the players we have lined up. It's not like, oh, we got this arc, but there's no Kawaki this arc or no Boruto. Everybody is here in the village. Like, everybody is here and everybody has a role. So it's about to get crazy. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Your boy Black Child, 3 long face, skinny body. Holla at your boy. I'ma holla at y'all. Black Child, yes sir.